Across the EU and UK, there's a range of proposals and new laws set to come in. They aim at unlocking the value in data and facilitating the sharing and use of all types of data, while rebalancing the market to regulate the bigger market players. They don't just relate to personal data. Commercial data will be impacted too. The changes will take the form of both entirely new laws and of targeted changes to existing laws. In the EU, you have the Data Governance Act and the Data Act, and the UK is making changes to its data protection regime. All of them are aimed at supporting innovation and encouraging responsible data sharing and reuse. The goal? To benefit European economy and society by harnessing the potential of the data held by businesses and public sector bodies operating in Europe. The aim of the EU's Data Act is creating a fair and innovative data economy, with fewer barriers to access to data by consumers and by businesses. It hasn't yet been passed, but it would promote data sharing and fair access to and use of data, while retaining protections for trade secrets. It would also unlock public sector data for use by organisations. 80% of public sector data is not currently used. And the data sharing would go in both directions. There would be an obligation on companies to share data with public sector bodies in exceptional circumstances, for example. The Data Act would also see more commercial data released, as it sets out obligations on manufacturers and designers to share the data generated by connected products and services. The data being shared could make a significant contribution to technological development, in particular in AI, where huge amounts of data are needed for algorithm training. The changes are generally pretty consumer-friendly. They would facilitate switching between providers of cloud services, for example, and they would regulate unfair terms in data sharing agreements. Data Governance Act comes into effect in September 2023. It creates a framework for increased data availability and reuse of public sector data, and it aims to increase opportunities for smaller European enterprises to allow them to compete against the global tech giants. It will facilitate the reuse of public sector data. It sets up common European data spaces in strategic areas, such as health, the environment, and energy. It also limits the creation of exclusive rights for the reuse of data. It provides for the use of trusted data intermediaries to share data. These data sharing services will be able to use a common European logo certifying their Data Governance Act compliance. It also imposes transfer restrictions on non-personal data that are similar to those GDPR imposes on personal data. These are aimed at data sovereignty and keeping public body data secure. There's a bill currently before the UK Parliament to streamline UK data protection law post-Brexit. It would reform aspects of the UK GDPR, the Data Protection Act, and the e-privacy rules to promote innovation and to reduce burdens on businesses. It's not a dramatic repeal and replacement of the existing regime. It retains the existing laws and structure, but it makes refinements to them based on 5 years' experience of the GDPR in practice. Its stated intention isn't to lower standards, but to facilitate responsible personal data use. For example, it would facilitate the use of data for scientific research, and that includes research done by commercial organisations. It also clarifies the lawful grounds for common data sharing activities, refines the definition of personal data, and also makes a raft of changes to accountability and governance requirements. The bill will also establish a framework for the use of trusted and secure digital verification services by commercial providers. It will allow individuals to create certified digital identities for use in a range of scenarios, such as background checks. The bill shouldn't require significant additional work to comply, but it could present opportunities for innovation in the UK. I'd say familiarise yourself with the new legislation on data. Does it present opportunities or challenges to your particular business? Will you be in scope? The other point to make is that the legislation around sharing of non-personal data will sit alongside the GDPR, so there may be some practical questions to resolve about how they interact. You can keep an eye on developments in these new laws through our Data Protection Hub and our Tech Hub, as we will be tracking and analysing the latest changes there.